Doing it on my own has had hard times, but I feel like I've appreciated it more. Like I'm doing it for myself and I know more so why I'm doing it and I have a goal. Everything that I've done I feel like is starting to pay off. So I just say that I'm proud of myself and it's been hard, but glad to see where I am now.
Hello and welcome back to Rinkside Rundown, the podcast that brings you inside the world of women's hockey, one story at a time. I'm your host, Chris Sinclair, and today I'm excited to be joined by Tory Mariano, defender, graduate of Northeastern University, and a name to watch heading into the 2026 PWHL Draft. Tori, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I am excited to dive in, but I want to actually start a little bit differently than we usually do here on the show. I want to actually start with your family because you grew up in quite I would say an athletic household, an environment, but I feel like that's a huge understatement. Maybe if you could just talk about the athletic environment you grew up in and maybe how that influenced you getting into sports as well.
Yeah, I feel like pretty early on, like sports were a huge impact on my life. I mean, when I was younger, my dad would always take me to like soccer games or baseball games, hockey games. I feel like just being in that environment, I was like, oh, like maybe this is something I want to do. But I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. So I was kind of just like young and my dad put me into T-ball. Like I feel like every kid plays T-ball or soccer when they first start off. But it was nice. I mean, it just wasn't something that I wanted to do, but he was like, "Oh, like maybe you should try hockey." I mean, he was a huge hockey player, so he was like, "Well, you can go into house or like learn to skate. Let's try it." So I started off pretty old, I'd say. I didn't learn to skate until I was like 7-ish, and he would just take me to open skate at the rink in our town, and he would kind of just like not yell at me, but he's like, "You can do it. Like, just stop." Like, I mean, I feel like he played, so, and he never coached, so I feel like it's a different standpoint when you're trying to teach your kid how to do like turns and stuff, and you're like, just do it. But yeah, I fell in love with it. But my grandfather, he passed before I was born, but everyone in my family, like growing up, and as soon as I started hockey and like when I was younger and I loved sports, they were like, "Oh, you remind me so much of your grandfather." And when I got older, I found out that he was a professional tennis player. So I was like, I would have loved to meet him, obviously, but I was like, I kind of want to like, he's like my role model. Like, I want to be as good as him and have like the discipline and everything that he had.
What was it maybe specifically once you laced up those skates? Do you remember what it was that really made you say, hey, I've looked at a number of different sports. I've dabbled, if you will.
Yeah.
What made hockey stick for you?
I think honestly, it was a little bit biased because I knew my dad played and he would show me photos of his dad and how he was his coach for hockey, and I was like, I think I like this a lot. Like, I would skate and I would fall down all the time just learning, but before open skate, there was always, like, travel or house leagues, and I would always be like, "Dad, like, I wanna go out there, like, can I do it?" He's like, "No, like, you gotta learn how to stop or turn still." But I think just it was, like, a goal of mine. Like, I saw it and I was like, "I wanna be able to do that," almost.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you mentioned your dad because he played for 15 years. He was at the amateur level. Could you expand on how much of an influence it was? You kind of mentioned that it's almost kind of runs in the family, but I just wanted to know as well, like what was it about his relationship to the game as well that maybe influenced you and really planted and cemented that passion for you.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a mixture of my dad and my grandpa. Like, my dad, I wanted to be like him and play hockey, but I wanted to almost, like, think that my grandpa was somewhere watching me and he's like, "Oh, wow, like, she's a great athlete," or, like, she has that, like, she's gonna be good. So I think it was just a mixture of both. My dad, he wasn't like I said, he wasn't the best teacher when I was learning to skate, but I think he was always, like, in my corner, and he was like, "You can do it, like, you can play." Like, even though you started late, he kinda just pushed me to go. So I think both of them influenced me playing hockey and starting.
Yeah, maybe, wasn't necessarily the best coach, but the best intentions, I
Yeah,
bet, yes. Yeah, of course,
definitely.
yeah, of course. So, I mean, we've touched on the fact that, sports you played a number of different sports, you were dabbling in a number of different sports before you ultimately landed on hockey, but in that you were also a letter winner across sports like lacrosse, field hockey, before you ultimately committed to hockey once again. When you think about that time, like how important was it for you to experience for however long or short a period of time? How important was it for you to experience different sports to get that different maybe perspective, different teams, different team environments. How important was that for you in your development as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly it was everything. Like some of the best athletes I know have played numerous sports. So ultimately, I think at my high school you have to play 3 sports. So that's where like I didn't play lacrosse and field hockey until I went to high
Mhm.
school, but I was kind of just like, "Oh, like I want to try them. I've never played them." But at this point in time, before high school, it was always softball or hockey. Like those were my main sports. And I picked hockey, obviously, but when I went to high school, I was like, "I've played softball for years, let me try something new." So I think just those experiences of playing those 2 sports, they're completely different than hockey, I will say, but just, like, they're different team dynamics and friendships, and just the way having hockey as my main sport, I feel like I compared field hockey and lacrosse to hockey almost, and I was like, "Oh, this is similar," or, "Oh, this is really different." And it would change the way I would see the game because I would also be at hockey practice and I would be like, "Oh, wait, did I do this in, like, practice today?" Like, it's such minor things, but even, like, field hockey, like, you can only be right-handed and you can't use your backhand, so I would go to hockey practice later in the day, and I would be, like, twisting my stick and not using the backhand, and I'm like, "What am I doing?" But no, I think just those experiences, I feel like they just make you a better athlete, like, you have different moves and different skills and, like, just different how you see everything.
Before we move too much further away from sort of that um prior to high school into high school time in your life, there was also you had the chance or you were fortunate enough to also win a championship, section 6. What did that mean to you and what do you think it did for your development to be able to win at that stage in your life as well?
Yeah, I mean, that was such a fun period of time. I mean, it was right before I went to high school, it was in 8th grade. I played on the high school team in my town, and we were honestly very good. I mean, I played with, um, a bunch of girls, I think that they went to D1 schools or D3, like,
Mhm.
very good. But I think that was honestly my first big championship team that I was a part of, and I think it was kind of just like a big moment in my career also, just it, like, led up to everything, and from that point on was when high school and committing and everything, so just being a part of that team, I mean, I look back on it and it was super fun, like, any championship team you have the best memories of, but I think just it will always stick with me just because it was my first big win. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
yeah.
Um, Also too, as you're going from junior high or public school, however you want to put it, into high school as well. There's this new expectation, of course, as well that you find a way to be able to balance being in academics, but also being in athletics, and it's not. It sounds like it should be easy, but it often isn't. But so how did how did you find that to be able to balance the two, and how maybe over that time in high school did that help you to prepare yourself for an even elevated and even more pressure to be able to to be able to balance the two in college as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think high school was hard, I'm not gonna lie. While I was going to school in Buffalo, I also played on a club team in Toronto, in Canada. It was hard. I mean, freshman year of high school, it helped because I knew a lot of the girls from the school because I played hockey with them previously. So they kind of took me under their wing and they were like, from a school standpoint, this is what you should expect. I mean, any freshman year, college or high school is hard. Like, you have to
Mhm.
learn what the expectations are, what your day to day is going to look like. But I think it was just on specifically that first year gave me a little bit of time to get my feet under me and figure out how to balance my time. But as my junior and senior year of high school is when I played in Toronto, so it was tough. I would go to school from 8 to 3 like every day, and then I would either have high school hockey some days or I would have to get right in the car with my mom and drive to practice in Toronto. And then while I'm in the car, I have to eat and do
Mhm.
homework, and then I would practice, and I wouldn't get home until some days 12. It just depended how much traffic was at the border, like, you never knew. So I think that was just a very important time with discipline, and I had to learn basically to be a student athlete in those times because if I didn't do my homework in the car, it was never getting done. Like, I was always moving. There was so much going on.
That puts a lot of things in perspective because I remember complaining about having to do homework, and I also did not have to balance being an elite athlete either. So the fact that you were able to somehow find a way to, I'm sure there were tough days where you didn't want to do the homework and stuff like that, but the fact that you were able to do that, that's a real testament to how much how passionate you were, of course, about the sports, but also academics, and that's something that we're going to get into in a moment as well as we talk about the end of your collegiate career. But I do want to, speaking of your collegiate career, of course, we need to talk about Northeastern. And it feels like the right place to start this is learning what it was about Northeastern that made it feel like, you know what, like this is home. This is home. This is where I want to be. What was it about Northeastern? Do you remember?
I think everybody kinda gets the feeling when they know, like, a place is
Hmm.
right for them. So I obviously talked to the coaches first, but as soon as I came to campus, I feel like it kinda just all clicked, everything. I was like, "Yeah, like, this is where I need to be," and the coaching staff, like, they just seem like the type of people that were gonna push me to grow, and I really enjoyed being someone who had somebody to push me and, like, try to reach my limits. I think also from a school perspective, I wanted to go somewhere with good academics and also great hockey, so that in itself worked perfectly, and I'm honestly a huge city person, so, I mean, you can't not love Boston. So I
Hmm.
feel like just everything just worked out, and it was perfect.
Yeah, and I guess, when we talk about the coaching staff, when we talk about those other elements, of course there's the on ice, there's the development, of course, there as well. But when you think back to having a coach like Dave Flint, like that kind of coach doesn't come around every day. Could you talk about coach's impact on you both on and maybe as well off the ice during your time at Northeastern?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously he's had a huge impact. I mean, he emphasizes details and accountability both as a person on the ice. Like, just playing for him has pushed me and made me understand the importance of consistency and what it takes to play at the highest level. But hockey aside, I feel like he is every single person on the team's, like, biggest supporter academically. Like, there will be sometimes girls will come from 9 to 5s, and they have jobs, and he he just wants the best for everyone. Like, he will make practice a little bit later so they can make video, so they don't have to catch up. I feel like just he was great. I mean, he everything they say about him is true.
Yeah, that's fair. And beyond just having a great coach, you've also had the opportunity to play on teams that include some familiar names to PWHL fans in, Alina Mueller. Here in Ottawa, Gwyneth Phillips is certainly one of those, Aaron Frankel. Um, they've gone on to, of course, have a lot of success both internationally and in the PWHL. When you think about the fact that, being able to have the opportunity to play on teams with them, play in an organization that also has their names attached to it. How does that inspire and maybe fuel you in your own games, both throughout your collegiate career, but now as you're also preparing for your own next step in your hockey career as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were all huge role models and so fun to play with. I mean, they were incredible leaders too, and they just showed what it takes. I mean, their effort, they're so competitive, and their preparation each day. Like, every single girl that I've played with that has played with them can definitely vouch. They would just raise the standard in the locker room. Like, every single person looked up to them, and they were like, "That's that's what we have to do. Like, that's what it's gonna take." And I think just having seen them play in the league and me having played with them, I think it just
Mm,
makes the process seem more real, and I've been around them and I've played with them, so, like, why couldn't I play too?
mhm,
So I feel like
mhm.
it's motivation in itself. Like, I can do this too, like, it's definitely obtainable.
So I think this is a natural segue into a conversation around the 2025 PWHL draft. Choosing not to declare and ultimately choosing to focus on your academics. I think again, like we said earlier, it seems like that was something that was instilled in you very early, the importance of the academic side. But could you maybe, of course, this is just coming from the outside. Could you talk, maybe share about what went into that decision and maybe what you learned about yourself by making such a difficult decision, especially as an athlete, like you want to play and you're
Yeah.
choosing to focus, of course, on the importance of academics. I don't want to downgrade that or anything like that, but you're focusing on that and not being an athlete. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely difficult. I feel like I have a very unique situation. When I was a freshman, you can decide at Northeastern if you wanna have 4 years or 5-year undergrad, and I chose 5 because we have a co-op program, so instead of taking classes for a semester, you'd have a job. So I chose to do 2 co-ops and have a 5-year undergrad, and this was before I knew that there was gonna be a PWHL. It was my freshman year, so
Mhm.
I was just planning for the future, I guess, in academics.
Yeah.
So last year, I was talking to Flint and I was like, "What should I do? Should I put my name in? I don't know how this works. Like, I'm the first class without a COVID year." He was like, "Just put your name in and see what happens." So I declared, but then they ultimately told me I was ineligible because I couldn't relocate to wherever I was picked if I was picked.
Mm,
So I feel like it was not my decision, but it was kind of a reflection of my decisions
mhm,
early on.
mhm,
At the beginning, I will say it was tough. It was just hard to look at it from a perspective of, "Oh my goodness, like, I have so much time to train. I have to go back to school. I've never been at school without playing hockey or being a part of the team. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I have to." There was just so much going through my head. So, it definitely got easier, but at the beginning, I feel like it was just of uncharted waters. I no one's been in that situation, and Flint helped me a lot, but it was kind of just so much unknown.
So then I guess this begs the question then around, you know, having to put yourself, of course you want to be playing, you didn't want this to necessarily be the route that you ended up on, but what did it teach you when you think about that? Like, what does this show you about your own, the fact that you did it, You didn't necessarily enjoy or didn't necessarily want to do it this way, but you did it, you stuck with it, you stuck through it, and now look at where you are. What does that also tell you about yourself in terms of your resilience and your perseverance? Maybe just talk about that because again, it's tough when you're an athlete. You want to be playing and you're not playing, and that's not an easy thing to do or not do when you're an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely proud of myself. I feel like it was hard to look at it from last March, April when I was done with hockey and be think of myself now where I'm like graduating in a month and I haven't played all year. So, I think honestly though, it's been a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Like I'm still at school, I still have the same resources besides the rink that they tore
Mm.
down
Yeah.
last semester. Honestly, I feel like I've tried to make my training seem like I'm still on the team just without the games. So,
Mm.
like a typical week, I feel like I would have like a 6-day week and then typical Sunday off is how it works. So I feel like honestly, I'm proud of myself and I feel like it's kind of been a learn as I go, but I've learned to like the process a lot more. I feel like when you're in college, it goes by so quick and it's really easy to be in routine and kind of just going through the motions. Like the seasons are long, the hours are long, like you're at the rink for a long time. But doing it on my own has had hard times, but I feel like I've appreciated it more because it's like I'm doing it for myself and I
Mm.
know more so why I'm doing it and I have a goal. Like everything that I've done, I feel like is starting to pay off. So I feel like, yeah, I just say that I'm proud of myself and it's been hard, but glad to see where I am now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you should be proud of yourself. This time away from the game, how has your training changed or how has it maybe evolved and how have you approached the fact that you're not necessarily preparing for games in the way that you used to, right? How do you approach your training to make sure that you're, of course, now that we're looking at the 2026 PWHL draft, making sure that you're game ready so that you can have a positive impact on a team when they inevitably draft you.
Yeah. I mean, I've been working with our strength and conditioning here, but I feel like every week it's gotten harder. I feel like
Mm,
I've been doing it's crazy, but I feel like I've been doing more than I would in a typical season. I mean, it's hard to stimulate a game and minutes and stuff like that, but during the week and the conditioning that I've had or just the lifts, like it's been very challenging, but I think it's honestly for the better. I mean, a whole year off, I don't really know how anyone would plan for that, so I'm glad that I've
mm.
had kind of people to help me with it, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely been challenging and it's different from what I've, like, been involved in the past, but I think it'll all pay off for sure.
It will. And let's talk about how it will pay off because the 2026 PWHL draft is on the horizon. When you think about the journey that you've been on, especially throughout your collegiate career, not being able to play the game and all of these different things, the fact that it is on the horizon, it is in front of you, what does that mean to you?
I mean, I think it honestly means everything, like, this is what I've been working towards for almost a year now. I mean, I feel like it is still a little bit away, but I feel like just being in the new year has been like, "You're close." Like, I feel like it's my motivation sometimes. I mean, it's different, like, I don't have a team to motivate me for lift or skate, so, like, I'm doing it for myself, so I think it just means everything, like, this is it, like, this is what you've been training for a year for.
Yeah, and I guess then could we talk about, when you think about your name being called, joining the PWHL, what do you think being in that league and being a part of a team again? which probably feels like forever since you were, of course. What do you think that's going to mean to you as well? Again, when you think about the journey that you've been on.
Yeah, I mean, I think to hear my name called and be a part of a team, I mean, like I just said, like I feel like that's what I want. Like that's what I've been putting my whole year towards. But I mean, I miss the team aspect. Like it's not easy to go to the gym or go skate and you don't have 26 or 28 girls with you. So I mean, just to be in a team dynamic again would be awesome. Just little jokes or like those are your best friends, and I feel like your best times are with your team, like on the ice or in the weight room or even getting snacks in between periods or something like that. So I feel like just to have like a family again and just be a part of something bigger than yourself would just be great.
When a PWHL team is looking at you and considering drafting you, what do you want them to understand about who you are as a person, as a player, and the kind of personality, of course, that they're also bringing into their locker?
Yeah, I mean, I want them to see someone who's definitely disciplined and reliable, like both as a player and a person, but also someone who keeps it light. Like I like to joke around. I like to not be so serious all the time. Like I feel like you got to kind of take it easy. Like we're all where we're supposed to be, like whatever. And I think as a defender, I feel like it's important that they know that I know my role. That I love to be physical and hard to play against. But aside from that, I feel like I just want to be a trustworthy teammate and somebody that does my job and knows what I'm supposed to do with like a team first mentality.
Okay, so before we move on to the final buzzer segment of the show, I want to ask you just straight up, like, does this feel real to finally be in this home stretch, to be in I know that it's gonna feel like another lifetime to get from here to the draft, of course, but does it feel real? Does it feel like this is finally the one chapter of your life is about to end and a brand new exciting chapter is about to begin?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's weird. I feel like when you like last year, I would have thought that my answer to that question would be yes then. But I feel like having gone through this process that I can finally say yes. Just being in the home stretch now, I feel like everything's starting to come together and I'm seeing different things about the draft. I'm like, "Oh my god, like it's happening. Like it's finally happening." So, definitely, yeah.
Good, good. I'm glad. Well, I can't wait to hear your name called because it's going to be, and it's going to be incredible. We are now going to move on to the final buzzer segment of the show. Just a fun way, rapid fire way to wrap up the conversation. We're going to start with what is your go to pregame meal?
The night before, I always make pasta broccoli, staple, but before the game, like the day of the game, I usually get a smoothie bowl from this place on the street. It's called Playa Bowls, always.
Okay, sounds good. What is one song or artist that gets you ready for game day? Gets you either focused, dialed in, or maybe just pumped up?
I'd say probably Drake. I'm a big rap person, so I feel like it always gets me pumped up.
Mhm. Amen. Okay, what is something that people might not know about you?
I kind of hinted at it earlier, but I almost committed to college for softball instead of hockey.
Okay, I try not to ask any follow-up questions because this is supposed to be a rapid fire segment, but I'm going to ask a follow-up. Do you ever regret, or do you not necessarily maybe regret, but do you wish that is there a part of you that wishes that you would have pursued softball instead? Are you happy with your decision? I mean, it's worked out, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think I definitely would not change my decision. I'm, like, so happy with what happened, but I think there have been times where I'm, like especially in the spring when hockey's over, I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, wow." Like, especially, like, outside Northeastern, like, my dorm, there's a big softball turf, and I see them play in the spring, so sometimes I'm like, "Wow." I kinda miss playing, but
Yeah.
other than that, no.
Yeah, you can just choose to live vicariously through them. That's how I would approach it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last one for you. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, give her some advice, some guidance on the journey ahead, what do you think you would tell her?
I would say to be where your feet are. I mean, it's very hard in the moment to take everything in, and I feel like you can go through the motions, but I would just say to just try to do that and trust that everything will work out.
Right. And that wraps up the final buzzer segment of the show and the final segment of today's episode. Tori, thank you so much for making time to join the show, share your story. This has been an absolute blast. As many people know, huge Northeastern fan this guy is, huge fan of yours. So to have the opportunity to chat with you has been awesome. And I can't wait to cheer you on in this next chapter when your name gets called at the PWHL Draft. Thanks so much for joining the show.
Thank you so much.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow hockey fans. Your support helps me to continue bringing you stories just like this one from around the world of women's hockey. I'm Chris Sinclair. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time on Rinkside Rundown.